Everyone stop talking. Listen, like, that was the best thing I've ever seen in my freaking life.
Yes, everybody, it's pretty safe to say that Season 2 of the Hazbin Hotel has pretty much blown my expectations out of the water. Seriously, everybody, I was expecting some great stuff to come out of this season of the show, but what we got really just blew my expectations away. And so in this video, I want to talk about why my expectations were so thoroughly blown out of the water with this spoiler-free review of Hazbin Hotel Season 2. And yes, before anybody asks, there is more to it than just nifty shenanigans. So, let's not waste any more time and jump right into it. This is my spoiler-free review of Hazbin Hotel Season 2.
And will you be protecting everyone, not just your favorite characters?
Okay, and to start with, I think we'd better get the big one out of the way first. That of course being that this season of the show looked fantastic. In fact, this season of the show looks so great that I will admit that I was being only slightly hyperbolic with the beginning of this video. Seriously, with this season of the show, it feels as if the series has received a large visual overhaul with the quality of its animation. Really, just in terms of comparing Season 1 to Season 2's animation, I think that there's a lot more to really enjoy and see that the show has taken advantage of. Which is not to say that Season 1 had bad animation or anything like that. Instead, I just think that in this season, the show's animators and creators really took more of an advantage of just what they could get away with and what they could do with a lot of the visuals for this story. Really, in comparison to Season 1, I think that a lot of the things that I really enjoyed with the visual style of this season just had to be the small improvements that we got this season. And really, for me, I realised pretty early on that this season of the show would be paying a bit more attention to the smaller details of its animation, just when I saw small things like Fox's TV antennas moving and bouncing around with his head motions. And yes, of course, in the grand scheme of things, a lot of these small details don't really add up to much, just in general scenes, but when taken as a general whole, I feel like these small details really impact and really kind of deepen the quality of the overall animation. Something that I also really enjoyed from the animation side of things in this season just had to be the scale of everything that we got to see in this season. Really, I think that this season of the show placed a greater emphasis on its framing and cinematography than what the previous season did, and I think that these additions to the show really made for a better viewing experience. And of course, in saying all of these things, I'm not going to pretend as if this is just the best animation I've ever seen. I was being slightly hyperbolic with the beginning of this video after all. Because of course, with everything I've said, you can clearly see just where the budget has gone in this season. Really, like with the first season, you can see and feel just how much the bigger scenes of this season have been just really given a lot of focus and attention. Especially in a lot of these smaller and more general scenes where it's just a few characters talking back with one another, and really there's nothing to complain about in those seasons. They're perfectly good, they do their job. However, when you put them alongside the larger, like really more cinematic scenes, you do really see where the budget has gone. And really, that's not something I'm complaining about. In fact, it's just something that I acknowledge as being part of the trade. Really, the general point that I'm just trying to illustrate with this part of the video is the fact that whilst I thought that Season 1 had pretty phenomenal animation on its own, I really do believe that this season of the show has managed to take the foundation laid by the previous season and really improve upon the visual style and general animation quality of the season and the show. Really, back when the first season released on Prime Video, I thought that the show looked pretty phenomenal and I thought that it had some really great animation. However, I didn't think that it was anywhere near as good as its sister series Hell of a Boss over on YouTube. Really, with the first season, it felt as if you could feel how the creators were getting to grips with the new animation industry focused pipeline of development, as opposed to what they had when they were working on the show back on YouTube and they were in that process of moving from YouTube to Amazon Prime Video. And really, with this point that I'm trying to make is just the fact that in comparing Season 1 to Hell of a Boss, I feel like the creators of Hell of a Boss were really taking more advantage of a lot of different ideas concerning cinematography, framing, and animation. And because the creators were also in the process of really getting to grips with the proper industry pipeline of development, I don't feel as if the creators were really able to take a lot of those same ideas and bring them into the first season of the show. However, we are now here with this second season of the show, and I really think it has managed to outshine a lot of its predecessors. So yes, the second season of Hazbin Hotel looks phenomenal, the animation is brilliant, and really I think that the rest of the show is just as brilliant as well.
Angels come out to play!
This is meant to be a spoiler-free review, so I'm not going to talk about the story for all that long. Of course, we only got the finale to this season of the show this week, so really what I'm going to do to avoid spoiling anything is just briefly touch on a few topics of the story that I really enjoyed, before I move into a small discussion as to how I thought about the entire season's story, just more generally. Okay, and to begin with, I want to say that this season of the show felt very Alistair and Vox centric, which is in no way any sort of complaint, because of course, I love these two characters, they are brilliant. Really, the two characters seem to have an anime-style rivalry going on, and this season was really the climax of a lot of the emotions and just sorts of argument that had been building up between these two characters.
A lot of good stuff happened in the world when people were like me.
Really, this season of the show does focus a lot on the backward and forth between these two characters, and I have seen some people online complaining that it's just the Alistair and Vox show now. However, I don't think that's true at all. I feel like a good number of the characters all get their time to shine in this season of the show, with regards to maybe one or two characters, but I'll get into that in a moment. Really, I think that there was a good bit of importance placed on Alistair and Vox this season of the show, just because the way that I think the rest of the show is going to be structured. And in saying that, I do think that we will get more out of Vox's character in the future. And really, in terms of Alistair and Vox this season, I do think that a lot of emphasis was placed on the story going on between their two characters, just due to the fact that I think that a lot of the events that took place in Season 2 will act as springboards for further events in Seasons 3 and 4. And just lastly on the topic of these two characters, I feel like too many people are giving Alistair and Vox too much credit, and really I think that if you really go back and you watch the entirety of this season again, you'll see that really this sort of like circumference around these two characters only comes from the fact that Alistair has to do something to get out of debt with someone, and really I think that the way he does it is really kind of creative, and I really enjoy that. And talking about the story of this season more generally, I do feel as if a lot of the creators and writers of this season have done a really good job in basing a lot of their story off of the emotions of the cast and the characters. And really what I mean by that is that I think that the creators this season have done a really good job to follow up on a lot of the lingering emotions and feelings left behind by the finale of the previous season. Which to me really does make sense, because it keeps to the show's core idea of a Disney princess in hell who believes in redemption. And in saying that, I think that with the way that this show really kept those ideas in focus this season, I feel like the show was able to pull off a good balance between a lot of the villain-centric stuff going on with Vox and Alistair, and a lot of the main character stuff going on with Charlie and Vaggie. Where I think the show faltered just a little bit this season though would have to be in the stories surrounding Angel Dust.
What the fuck is this?
This kinda came out of nowhere for me, but it's not something I want to complain about. Okay, let me explain. Yes, like a few people have said, I do feel like this season of the show kinda missed the target a little in terms of Angel Dust's character. Because of course the revelation that we get in terms of Angel's character and Vox and everything else that's going on was kind of a massive thing. But it's not something I'm ready to complain about yet, just because I feel like there's more to come out of that story. Honestly, the scale of just what happens with Angel Dust's character this season is so massive that I would feel generally pretty disappointed if we didn't see anything come from it in future seasons. However, I don't feel as if that will be the case, just due to the fact that in the finale of this season, we do see that there is something hinting that Angel Dust will have to confront a lot of these emotions and a lot of these sorts of topics in the future. I mean, we also see that, Vox is still kicking, so he'll probably still be there as well. And so just to conclude on the story part of this video, I wanted to say that Season 2 of Hazbin Hotel is genuinely a pretty interesting and pretty entertaining watch in terms of its story. And lastly, just before we move off the story aspect of this season of the show, I want to lastly say that the comedy aspect of this season of the show is drastically improved compared to what we got in the previous season. Seriously, there were gags in this season that actually had me bawling. It was great. And lastly, just the final aspect of this season that I want to talk about has to of course be the songs. Really, both Hazbin Hotel and Hell of a Boss are pretty renowned for their songs, and really that trend continues here. Really, for a while now, people have been saying that Disney have been getting beaten at their own game by Hell of a Boss and Hazbin Hotel, and yeah, they're right. In terms of this season of the show, I really feel as if I enjoyed basically every song that we got this season. Now, yes, I am no musical songwriter, I am no musical professional or anything like that. However, I do feel as if the songs that we got this season were a little improved compared to what we got in the previous season. One of the things that I said in my previous video where I ranked every song from the first season was the fact that I really enjoyed songs that had more than one character in them and really had a good backward and forth between characters. So I'm really quite happy to say that that trend has continued here in Season 2, with a good number of songs having a good backward and forth between different characters. And really, I think that the songs this season were so great that when they worked in conjunction with fantastic animation, there was just no way that I couldn't enjoy myself watching. Really, when it comes to musicals, I'm someone who believes that both aspects of a musical have to work in tandem with one another or nothing will work at all. However, here with this second season of the show, I really think that this show has managed to keep up with what it did last season and really fuse these two tandem aspects of the show in ways that I really found quite enjoyable. Really, the musical aspects of the show and the animation aspects of the show come together to create something that is genuinely beautiful.
Hands to beat gods! Who's with me?
So yes, that's Season 2 of Hazbin Hotel. I thought it was fantastic. The animation was phenomenal, and other aspects of the show like its story, its musicals, and its character bits were all just as phenomenal. The season stumbled a little bit every now and then in terms of certain story decisions and certain character decisions, but really I don't feel like any of those decisions detract from the overall season as a whole. But hey, that's just my opinion of the show, so please, everybody, let me know what you thought of this season of the show down in the comments section below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.